Judd Trump to get us underway then in this best-of-9 frame encounter, a place in the last 16 of the China Open up for grabs. First to 5 to go through.
Yeah, the defending champion. Just looking at the draw, actually, Phil, I think you've got to say that the bottom half is more heavily loaded with the top stars than the top half where Judd is.
Yeah, the winner of this plays either Tian Pengfei of China or Martin Gould. The one player who could be displaced as regards automatic qualification for the Crucible is Ryan Day, who lost in qualifying. But there are only 5 players now, according to my maths, which isn't the best, who could conceivably displace him. Good opening red from Trump. More on that shortly.
Yeah, a little bit unlucky that the white's finished where it has. I don't think the black goes, but it just play a safety hit. Good play off the brown, trying to get him behind the green, actually, on the side cushion.
Yeah, Martin Gould is currently in 17th spot, so were he to make the semi-finals, he would actually take that 16th spot. And of course, if you're outside the 16, Mike, you've got to win 3 qualifying rounds to get to the Crucible.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Mind you, we said that last year. Look just what Ding did. You know, he came through the qualifiers, didn't do him any harm, got into the final. Really tightened up his game, so.
And the other players who could make it, theoretically, are Ricky Walden, Michael Holt, Mark Williams and Stephen Maguire, who has to win the tournament. That's the equation for Maguire.
Yeah, I think Mark's probably about the same, isn't it? Is it a final spot or possibly winning it, Mark Williams, to get himself into the 16?
A final spot would just about do it for him.
So there's a lot to play for this week. £85,000 to the winner on Sunday. This guy might be there.
Yes, made the point earlier this week that the only concern for Judd Trump and his fans is that he's peaking too soon. But he is the player to beat right now. There's no question about it. He has been so consistent this season. And he hasn't let the disappointments, Mike, of losing some close finals affect him. He came right back, having lost the Welsh Open in a final frame decider against Bingham to win the Players' Championship. Yeah,
he said that, you know, he wants trophies, he wants more trophies in the cabinet, and he's been knocking on the door for a while. So, big day for this young man. I think, just going back to Judd, I think his game's in that good a shape, Phil. He's got a great chance at the Crucible this year.
Currently joint favourite with the bookmakers, alongside defending champion Mark Selby, with Ronnie O'Sullivan the third favourite behind them.
Bit of value in the best, some of the rest of the field actually. 12s, 14s, 20s. Marco Fu, I think it's 12s. Ding at 14, something like that. Oh, what about that? Tremendous red. Anyway, but it's just the little matter of this event this week, and this is a great event in its own right. It really is. I mean, the boys love coming to China. The audiences are very enthusiastic. They love to see their stars here in Beijing, or all the tournaments in China. To be honest, they certainly put out the red carpet for these boys.
Well, of course, this was the tournament that started it all for Trump back in 2011. This is where he made his big breakthrough, and of course he followed it up with his run to the final at the Crucible, which remains the only time he's made the final so far in Sheffield. That was 2011. So very happy memories for Trump, and he's going for his 3rd China Open title this week, having regained it 12 months ago, beating Ricky Walden in the final.
All started there, didn't it, when Ding Junhui beat Stephen Hendry in that final. What was that, 7 or 8 years ago, something like that now?
As a wild card, didn't win any prize money.
Yeah, unbelievable. That's really where the explosion of snooker in China took off.
Yes, and Ding's in action later, and he could, of course, face Ronnie O'Sullivan in the last 16, and what an occasion that would be. I'm not sure who the fans would be supporting, given the extraordinary support O'Sullivan got yesterday.
You won't want to miss that one, would you?
Will be a special atmosphere if it happens, but of course their opponents will have something to say about it, I'm sure. They've met once before, and it was here in China, this pair, a couple of years ago, and Trump won 5-0 on that occasion. He's only dropped one frame in his first 2 matches so far. But that's a surprise. We've seen very few errors like that in recent times from Trump. And a let-off for Sharav. £6,500 guaranteed for the players who've reached this stage. 8,000 guaranteed for the winner today. And then it starts to go up pretty significantly.
Been a little bit lucky there, got the double kiss, but the cue ball's finished tied to the cushion. We should really just clip off the red nose to the pink, but he's looking at this red on the left-hand side. No, well, he's taking this on. This is tough. He could get on the black if he knocks it in. Well, might have been a little bit too early to be trying those, and it could prove to be costly.
Turned pro a couple of years ago via Q School, Eden Sharav. Made the last 32 of the recent shootout, which of course is now a full-blown ranking event. Indeed, it was Anthony McGill's triumph in the shootout that has enabled him to seal his spot for Sheffield after a largely indifferent season. It's a controversial one, isn't it, Mike, the shootout, and whether it should be a full-blown ranking event. And even Anthony McGill, after his triumph, which was clearly hugely beneficial to him both financially in terms of his ranking as well, he's of the view that it shouldn't be, really. Yeah,
there was a lot of the players saying the same thing. We'll see what happens with the next year. Actually, it's always been classed as a fun event, isn't it? But this is the real business, isn't it? This is the real deal. Major ranking event in China with the worlds to come.
14. 15.
Judd in here with a good chance to seal the opening frame. Just get the feeling though, if he wins the first frame and then the second one, he could be off into the distance. So Eden's going to have to be careful. I mean, he took that red on. It was a tough red to take on, really. He's at this early stage in the match. Hasn't landed perfect here. He wanted to be straight on this red. Not sure if the black goes to the left. Just to see how he plays this. He might just screw the white over for position on the black. Well, obviously it does go. Changed his cue last season, Judd. He's settled into this new one. Playing really well with it.
Yes, that looks like a very shrewd decision on his part.
Yes, went to John Paris in London and said, please make me a new cue. I think he got 3 or 4 actually, but this is the one he settled into, and it's been very lucrative. 2 or 3 players have done that over the last couple of seasons. Sean Murphy, another one, and John Higgins, of course. Sean Murphy's cue, the one he used to play with, he's had that since he was a youngster, since he was about 8, 9, 10 years of age, and he was about 800 years old actually, the cue, a really old cue, Phil, but it just disintegrated really. Sometimes the cue goes brittle, the oils are not as good as they are in after a little while, and he said it just completely broke down, you know, so I had to get another cue. And Sean's still in the mix, and he's playing some good stuff. Not probably been as consistent this year as you would have liked to have been, but who knows? Suddenly you could turn the switch, turn it on here, win, and then go into Sheffield with a lot of confidence.
Yes, of course, he won in Gloucester, didn't he?
Mm.
Which is now also a fully fledged ranking event, beating Judd Trump in the final. Gloucester, I meant Gibraltar, of course. Well, they both start with a G, but apart from that, not much in common.
A few miles away from each other.
42.
Yes, Eden Sharav actually practices in Gloucester, hails from Alloa in Scotland. But already Trump at the snooker's required stage once this black disappears. Crowd acknowledge that.
He's in good form, Judd, there's no doubt about that. His confidence is high.
50.
Yeah, the question today is whether Eden Sharav is going to be able to be solid enough to apply any pressure. Because if Trump gets chances, he's going to take them, and he's going to take them quickly.
57.
Made 3 centuries in 4 frames in beating Jason Weston 5-0 in the first round. 69 for the season. But still a long way off
65.
Neil Robertson's extraordinary tally of 103, which might never be beaten.
Times 65.
The break of 65, more than enough to clinch the frame. Eden Sharav coming back with an eye on getting his arm going. Obviously the frame has gone. Well, that's not a bad idea for the underdog who wants to try and get a feel for the conditions so that he's better placed to make a fist of the second frame. Currently ranked at 96 in the world, Eden Sharav. 87 is his best. That was achieved earlier this year. He's made a couple of centuries during the campaign. And an excellent win over Ross Muir in the previous round. A 5-0 victory, so he can certainly play. He also beat Jamie Jones 5-3 in qualifying.
18.
2 fine wins, so Trump won't be taking him lightly, that's for sure.
Part 1.
First blood to Martin Gould against Tian Peng Fei. Big break from Gould in the opening frame. The winner of that to play the winner of this in the round of 16. John Higgins has taken the first frame against Mark Davis on table 2. And likewise, Ali Carter has taken the opener against Michael White.
That's enough. 30. That's up on the frame.
So Eden Sharav gets his arm going with that little run of 30, but Judd Trump's break of 65 was the key contribution, and he takes the opening frame. So a good start for our defending champion, Judd Trump, with that run of 65.
At the moment, but anyway, here we go with frame 2.
And the break-off is an important shot for Eden Sharav, with Judd Trump so deadly from long range. That's not a bad one.
I think that's might not quite be a snooker. Wasn't far away. Yeah, see, Sharav can just cut this red. Well, he's played one.
First blood to Shaun Murphy against Gary Wilson, 1-0 to Murphy. Michael Holt's taking the opening frame against his good friend Mark Williams. Both of those players could theoretically still qualify as of right for the World Championship.
Like a bit of banter on Twitter between those two, don't they? They're at it all the time.
Well, of course, they played at the World Championship last year, and before each session they gave each other a hug. Something new on me, but there we go.
I don't think you'd ever see Stephen Hendry do that.
Nothing wrong with sharing the love, I guess.
Not going to go there. Good red from Judd. Yeah, it's nothing wrong with a bit of respect, is there?
3.
Yes, and Holt made a blistering start in that match before Williams reined him in. Beat Neil Robertson in the first round, didn't he, the hitman?
Yeah.
Terrific performance, one of the best wins of his career.
Well, I think that's the thing today in this world that we live in. Phil, there isn't enough respect, is there? It's gone out the window, I'm afraid. Some of the moral core is definitely gone out the window. Well, that's not bad. I think he can cut this red back in. He's got the one to the yellow pocket. Well, good pot. Couldn't guarantee where the white was going to finish. Now he's got the problem of the red down the table.
Just Trump 10.
Oh, that's a great cut-back red. I mean, Judd was a little bit unlucky there going into the pack, landing on nothing, but he had to try and cover that red, but he didn't do, but still a good pot. Now, this is probably the first real chance that Eden's had, actually, in this match. And let's see what he can do with this one. He's got to take the game to Judd. He knows that.
Wow. Serve 1.
It's actually probably better off seeing the cue ball disappear there, because it was heading very much towards the business end of proceedings.
Yeah, I think if it knuckled, I think there was a red onto the right corner. So he shouldn't have missed the green, but he's had a bit of a result. Nearly. Well, he's managed to cover it with the other red, but Judd could play a plant here, or he could play cushion first. Now, if he plays the plant, there's a chance of getting on the black. But the red is close enough to the pocket to play cushion first. He's playing the plant. I think he's trying to stay on the black here. Oh, he's got the double kiss pot. That will do.
Perfect position to go with it.
As I mentioned, the red was close enough for that to happen, really, with the double kiss. He's in again. Could this be 2-0?
Eight. Nine. Sixteen. 17.
Well, that slipped in off the near jaw, but it's okay. Just probably a little cannon into the pink here. Hole for the red.
24. 25. 32. 33.
Well, they're all there. It's just a question of keeping control of that cue ball. There's no doubt, Phil, he's in great form, isn't it? And he has been for a few months, you know. Looking at one or two of the other players in the field, but no, this could be, he's defending champion, and who knows, he could retain the title this week. He's playing well enough.
Well, to win 2 ranking events in one season these days is some feat, given the strength and depth. He's achieved that already, but he wants
40.
at least one more before the season's done.
That's why you think about what Ding did a couple of seasons ago, winning 5 in one season. You know, it was unheard of since Stephen Hendry did it a few years ago. So, as you say, with the amount of snooker the boys are playing, and also the amount of talent that's around and the players, that was a great achievement as well.
Yes, and I think it was really important for Trump's confidence that he landed the title in the Players' Championship, because he'd had some near misses in recent times. Lost to Liang in the final of the English Open.
49.
Lost, as we mentioned, to Murphy in Gibraltar. And, of course, to Bingham in a final frame decider at the Welsh Open. And as well as he's played, he desperately wanted another bit of silverware. He's got that now.
And he's got this frame as well. He's about to go 2-0 up.
55. 56.
Well, that puts the frame beyond any sort of doubt. Only 51 remaining, so it's going to be 2-0 in pretty quick time. Eden Sharav missing a pretty straightforward green when he had a chance to score himself earlier in the frame.
61. That's up 61.
So a brace of 60 plus breaks, enough for Trump to double his lead. Eden Sharav concedes, and the defending champion is looking good again. That's 12 frames out of 13 so far at the China Open this year for the man they call the Juddernaut. He leads Eden Sharav by 2 frames to 0. Of Scotland by 2 frames to 0. John Higgins in action over on table 2 against Mark Davis. Let's just check in on what's happening there. Higgins, of course, won the opening frame. They haven't played for a couple of years, actually, Higgins and Davis leads the head-to-head 5-4. He's got a pretty decent record against the Wizard, but as you can see, playing catch-up. Got plenty of points still on the table in frame 2, Mike.
Yeah, missed the cannon there, though, into the pack. That's a poor shot, really, from the yellow. It was a perfect angle, and that's a big target to hit. So you won't be best pleased with that shot, actually. If you got the reds open, he could have tried to get the second frame on the board.
Davis, who made not 1 but 2 maximum breaks earlier this year in the Championship League, the first he'd ever made, and he's the oldest player to do so at 44.
Yeah, and the other thing is, can't really discount John Higgins this week, Phil. He's playing some good stuff at the moment, and he looks determined.
Had that tremendous success at the back end of last year. Judd Trump then breaking off in frame 3. He's lost just 1 frame at this year's China Open tournament. This is 3rd match. Winner to play the Tiang Pengfei on Martin Gould. Gould has now gone 2-0 up on the Chinese, so he's looking good. One of the players who could yet qualify for the Crucible with a good run here. Well, he's looking to attack, isn't he, Eden Sharav? But if you're going to take on reds like that against Trump, you've got to get them.
He's been a little bit unlucky there with the double kiss. I mean, another day he might have got away with that, but Judd straight back in here in the 3rd frame.
Sean Murphy has doubled his lead over Gary Wilson, so it's Murphy 2-0 up. And Michael White has just made a big break to level against Ali Carter at 1-all. Wow.
I was with you there. That was side door, wasn't it?
We've seen 1 or 2 tables this season that have been very tough in terms of the corner pocket drop, but this one, from what I've seen so far, has been a little more on the generous side.
It's amazing, really, isn't it? Because you wonder how that can happen, because the template is exactly the same and has been for the last 25, 30 years. But of course, a new cloth on the angles of the pockets and that, they're a little bit silkier, a little bit softer as they go in.
Yeah, and I guess they're all screwed together very slightly differently, aren't they?
Well, the fitters put the templates in the pocket to make sure they're absolutely spot on, and just keep nudging them to make sure it is right. But anyway, it doesn't matter. That the black went in and Judd's still in here.
Part 4. Part 5.
Might have just dropped on this back red. Well, I don't know. Has he gone too far? Well, if he has, he's playing this red to the centre. Stun around the back of the black. Oh, that's a great pot. And you've got the cannon into the black and he's managed to land on it. Great red. Yes, he didn't play the can into the black, he played around it, but that will do.
Aren't many players who'd have taken that on.
Well, he won't be taking any more on from there.
40. Pattern 1.
Well, the bonus is the touching ball, so he can just play away from the pack here. Put the white behind one of the baulk colours. But he's got a good 40-point lead in this third frame.
Just on 40.
Of course, he was on a maximum there, Phil. 5 reds, 5 blacks.
Yeah, a small matter of £30,000, a rolling 147 prize this week. And of course, if no one makes one, it moves up to 35,000 for the season finale in Sheffield.
One.
Well, he left the red on, but he's not on a colour here. He might just be able to see the pink, just clip off it. Well, if he could have seen the pink to pot it, I think he would have taken it on.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, I think you can just clip off the edge of the pink for safety.
Just on 1.
Judd's not backing away from anything, but that wasn't too far away either. Not much on here for that young man. I think he should probably play a safety here and just wait. He's not playing the red, he's playing the safety, I think. I think that could have been an attempted pot. Now, can Judd get through the gap here between the brown and the pink? I think he can. Oh, that's amazing. Hang on. Oh, it's amazing. Another day that would have been covered.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any doubt that Judd Trump is the best long potter in the game right now. He's always been terrific from distance. Neil Robertson would have certainly rivaled him in that department, but right now, for me, Trump is head and shoulders above everyone from long range.
Yeah, I think you've got to. I think he's taken over the mantle from Mark Williams. Really, Mark's another one, single ball potter, terrific, but not quite as consistent as he was in these days.
And it's such an asset, isn't it? When you've got the break building power of Trump, if you can get in from long range, then it's such a potent combination.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, Phil, you've got control of the table, haven't you? If you're not on a colour, you can lay the snooker. Just gives you control of the table, and then you can decide what you want to do. You were saying, Phil, look at this for a pot.
I mean, it's the consistency that he has from that kind of distance that's really remarkable. And when you factor in that he's made a season's best 69 centuries, and his safety game is very solid as well. He is the all-round package these days, Trump.
Well, as we've mentioned before, a lot of people are fancying him this year at Sheffield. He's in good shape. There's no doubt about that. His game is definitely in good shape.
Yeah, the question is whether he's going to be able to handle the pressure of being the favourite. He'll know that there are plenty talking about him because of what he's done this season.
14.
I think it's about getting that first one under the belt, isn't it? If he got the first one like Ding, he'd probably win 2, 3, 4 possibly. He's young enough. But it's just that first one, getting that sort of monkey off your back and then thinking, well, I've done it once, I know I can do it again.
Yes, and Stephen Hendry likened him to Jimmy White recently and said that it's very important for Trump to avoid becoming another one of the great players not to have won the world title. And of course, with every passing year, it gets that bit harder to do it. So he'll want to strike sooner rather than later, get that monkey off his back, and then, as you say, who knows what he could go on to achieve, because he is still very young. He's only 27. He's got at least another decade at the top of the game if he wants it. But as we know, and Jimmy, of course, is a prime example of this. It takes more than a wonderful talent.
Trump 29.
Once again, Trump over the winning line comfortably, just 59 remaining, so 3 snookers required to tie.
Don't think there's any real chance there, but Eden's just taken the opportunity to get some practice in here, try and get the Q arm going. He hasn't had a lot of table time.
1. Mark. 16. I done Sharav 16.
Well, watch your pockets here, because with the frame 1, anything's possible with Trump. Well, that was pretty conservative by his standards, but he's breezed into a 3-0 lead here. Eden Sharav just not able to apply any pressure to the defending champion, and at the moment it's a walk in the park for Trump, who's now just 2 frames from victory, leading 3-0. Quarters of an hour here, and he's 3-0 down to Judd Trump. He's had a couple of half chances, but he's yet to score significantly. And Trump has done what's been necessary to build that commanding early advantage. This is the last frame before the interval. John Higgins, I can tell you, has doubled his lead now over Mark Davis, so 2-0 to Higgins. Ben Wollaston and Hossein Vafai level at 1 apiece. Mike Dunn has taken the opener against Rory McLeod, but McLeod now on a break of 79, so that's going to be 1-1.
Don't think that was going to be a quick match. Well, that's unlucky again. He's taken on the red, but unfortunate to see the red go over the corner. It's not happening for him at the moment, I'm afraid. Even when he is taking them on and missing them, he's just leaving Judd in.
1.
Don't need to give this guy any encouragement to pot them.
Three. 4.
Well, that was terrific. I mean, dropped it in dead weight. I thought he might have had too much angle to stay on the black, but played it really well. That was clever. Just pushing into the red there.
11.
Well, the way he's playing, you expect this to be 4-0 going into the interval. Well, I've got to say, really, from Eden's point of view, that's a long way back, of course. And difficult to see him coming back from there. And there's no doubt Eden's taken them on, and they haven't gone in, but that's the problem. It just giving easy chances to Judd, really.
19. 20. 25.
I think he's missed that. Has he missed it? Yeah, I thought he had. It always was on that near jaw.
Right, so this is a chance that Eden Sharav has to grab with both hands. He's got to score from opportunities like this.
1. 6. 7.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that one, but again, he's been a little bit unfortunate there. A good pot from where the cue ball was. Will he take the blue one? That's a big pot to take on, really, at this stage. Well, it looks like he is doing.
He certainly tried to attack the balls from the start. He's gone for his long pots, but unfortunately for him, so far they've not been going in. This is another big one. That was a really good pot, given the situation.
Yep, every credit.
As mentioned, he had two terrific wins to set up this opportunity to take on Trump, beating Jamie Jones 5-3 and Ross Muir 5-0. Ross Muir made us maximum break, didn't he, earlier this season? So he can certainly play. And there's another good pot.
Looks like he's beginning to find his feet here. But he definitely needs this frame on the board, of course. I mean, you never know. Come out then 3-2, things can happen. 4-0. Can't really see it, though, coming back from there. But so far, so good here. But he's missed the black.
That's left 13.
Sounds like something has happened somewhere that's pretty exciting. Of course, there are lots of matches going on the outside tables.
One. 6. 7.
Mark Williams has levelled up, by the way, against Michael Holt. 1 frame apiece. Big match for both players who could potentially snaffle a place for Sheffield without having to go through qualifying.
13.
They've both got a lot to do.
14.
Meanwhile, here on table 1, it's looking like 4-0.
Punt. 21.
Got the cannon, but unfortunately now with the pink that's been spotted, I don't think he's on anything here. Well, unless Judd's thinking about the plant, which will be outrageous, really. But there's not much else on.
39 in front, still 59 on the table.
Well, I suppose you could take this on and play with an element of safety. Oh. Audacious.
28.
What a terrific shot that was, because there was so much distance between the reds. You just can't do anything wrong at the moment, Judd Trump. And he'll be hoping that he
31.
can keep it going for another 5 or 6 weeks.
32.
Final day of the World Championship takes place on the 1st of May this year. Could it
37.
be May Day for Trump?
38.
Well, certainly entertaining the fans here in Beijing. He's got a massive fan base as well in China, Judd Trump. He really has.
And no surprise, given the way he plays, he is so exciting to watch.
And the green here. Oh, hang on, has he got the cannon as well? Oh, unlucky, but frame over.
Great pot that was, even though it ended up being a foul. But Judd Trump is steamrollering Eden Sharav right now. We're already at the mid-session interval here in Beijing, and Trump has cruised into a 4-0 lead. That's 14 frames out of 15 at this year's China Open. And Eden Sharav with a nigh-on impossible task to turn this around after the break. Judd Trump leading 4-0. In frame 5, Judd Trump 4-0 up on Eden Sharav. Judd Trump just back underway then, needing only 1 more frame after the mid-session interval to clinch victory. Eden Sharav had a decent chance at the start of the 4th and missed a black off its spot. John Higgins, I can tell you, on table 2 has now moved 3-0 in front of Mark Davis. Higgins clinching that frame on the final brown. So Higgins just a couple of frames away from the round of 16. Nothing going Eden Sharav's way at the moment. Never easy to control the positional side of a shot like that. The pot, of course, is extremely easy, but getting the cue ball exactly where you want it when it's right over the pocket, and that just made the black a little bit trickier. At the moment, though, I think Trump feels as though he can go for everything, save for the knowledge that he's probably going to be back sooner rather than later. So Eden Sharav really has to start scoring. Hasn't done himself justice so far today after those 2 excellent wins to get to the last 32. Jamie Jones and Ross Muir dismissed for the loss of only 3 frames combined. Apologies for 1 or 2 technical glitches that we're encountering at the moment. We're on the case, trying to sort those out. But once again, Sharav missing a pot that he should have got, really. Just a reminder that later on, Ronnie O'Sullivan is back in action, as is Ding Junhui. 2 players who could, of course, face each other in the round of 16. We'll have full coverage of the evening session here in Beijing. Dave Hendon and Joe Johnson will be here for that one. Judd Trump back in. That normally spells trouble for his opponent. His triumph at the Players' Championship was his 7th ranking title. Beat Ronnie O'Sullivan earlier in the season in a thrilling final at the European Masters, coming from behind to win in a final frame decider. Runner-up at the English Open, the Gibraltar Open and the Welsh Open. It's been a tremendous season for Trump. His consistency has been outstanding. Well, that's a surprise. And yet another chance for Sharav, and this is a good one. Tian Peng Fei has pulled a frame back against Martin Gould, so 2-1 now to Gould, and the winner of that, remember, plays whoever comes through this one. Rory McLeod, who lost the first frame to Mike Dunn, now 2-1 up. Ben Wollaston and Hossein Vafai level at 1-all. And Sean Murphy has gone to the interval with a 3-1 lead over Gary Wilson. 2-1 Ali Carter leading Michael White, and 2-1 Michael Holt leading Mark Williams. Both of those players still in with a shout of qualifying for the World Championship as of right, without having to play 3 qualifying rounds. Can't believe it's come around so quickly, Mike.
Amazing. I mean, this season has been a blur, hasn't it, really, with the amount of tournaments we've had. Amazing. Yes, the World Championship starts on the Saturday the 15th of April.
2.5 weeks' time.
Well, one player in particular, of course, the defending world champion, Mark Selby, knows when he's playing. He'll be playing on the first day, of course, on the Saturday morning and evening. It's just a question of where everybody fits into the seedings and the draw as to when they will be playing.
Party 4.
Gone back to plan A. Don't think you can see enough of the one there, the pink. Nicely played. He knew he was going into the other edge. So it just needs a bit of an angle on this black, just to go onto the next red. Doesn't want this to be dead straight. Don't think the red near the pink goes to the corner. Well, he had to force the angle there to get back for one of these reds. He was unlucky to finish fairly straight on the black. Any angle, he could have just dropped it in for the red to the left corner. But this is tricky. He's got this red to the middle, but to stay on the black or the blue, he's got to be careful here. He can miss this. Well, like I said, he was playing it with pace, and there's always a chance of that happening. I think Judd had to just swerve the cue ball around the blue there a little. Got away with that a little bit. Judd, he could have easily pushed that red over the corner. He's just gone off the boil a little bit here, Judd, since the interval. I mean, he probably wanted to stay out there at 4-0, get the job done, but Eden here is with an 18-point lead, looking for his first frame on the board. And he got the pop, but look at that, look at that's finished. He's had a touch there.
and miss. Top trump 4.
Sharav very unlucky to find himself snookered. But it's been that kind of day for Eden. He's not really done himself justice. He's not played as he can. And he's not had any luck either. And that tends to be the way, doesn't it, when you're struggling and your opponent's flying, that they get the rub of the green to go with it.
Yeah, he hasn't shied away from the pots, has he? He's taken them on, just not gone in, as we've mentioned. But this is a tough escape here. 3 cushions. Try and drop on the red on the top cushion. Oh, he's not hit that hard enough. And it's slightly the wrong angle, so I think that's going to go back again. I think Judd's not going anywhere. He'll be sat in his chair. Well, he's going to have a look, but I'll be surprised if he doesn't put this back. Well, can he see enough of this one? Well, there you go. From our angle, I didn't think he could see enough of that red.
It's a terrific pot. Is this the beginning of the end for Eden Sharav? Just 9 points in front, but not for long.
Six.
Well, he was trying the cannon there, didn't have to. Now he's out of position.
Honours even now between Michael Holt and Mark Williams. They're at their mid-session interval 2 apiece. Likewise, Ali Carter and Michael White level at 2 all. Martin Gould's about to go 3-1 up on Tiang Peng Fei at the interval. It's looking likely to be trump against Gould in the next round.
Just 3 points in it then. Very close to that red. Played on the pink there, it's gone a bit too far, I think. Well, well, from there it's not too bad. I think you can cannon into the red on the cushion. Hold the white. Another chance for Judd to wrap up this match. Well, he's got the double kiss, not now.
Scrappiest frame of the match by far, but once again it's trump in front. Still 43 on the table.
Dutch trump 7.
Way too thick from Judd Trump with the attempted pot. So another chance for Eden Sharav, and this isn't a bad one. The blue is a bit awkward.
One.
Well, he's ever done that. Might be the green now to get on this final red. it's going to be all about the blue here. Could get on the yellow. With a good angle to nudge the blue after the screen. I'm sure he's thinking about it. Well, he should attempt to move the blue here now. Cushion first, about quarter ball, half ball contact, he'll be on the green. I think he's got to take a slight risk. I mean, he can play yellow green and then from the brown, but I think I'd play it now. No, that was the only danger of that shot, getting underneath the blue, and now he's left the white near the cushion. He just got too much into the white there, and this is a tough pot on the green.
It certainly is. Pretty much dead straight and close to the cushion. Awkward cueing. If he gets it, it could be a frame winner.
Yeah, it's very missable though.
A long way off. So dead level with 25 remaining.
I think Judd will have a go at this. Try and get on the brown now. Oh. Yeah, Eden was a little bit unlucky. When he played the cannon into the blue from the yellow, he just got too much on the white and it went sort of what we call underneath the blue with the contact and left himself the awkward green. Well, if he can power this in and get on the blue, he could be all over. Yeah, hang in the middle. I'd say he's cueing well, fella, isn't he? Slow down, though. Slow down. Ooh, slow down. Oh, anyway, but there.
He hit that too well, didn't he? So a temporary reprieve at least for Eden Sharav. Trump 7 in front, 18 left, but snookered on the blue.
I mean, he might come off the side cushion and pot this blue here and still win the match.
He needs blue and pink.
Stranger things have happened at this game of snooker. Don't be surprised if this goes in.
Well, he's walking on water at the moment, isn't he? He played that quite brilliantly. And look at the position he's got to go with it. This for the match. Judd Trump is looking pretty unstoppable at the moment. He's known on occasion as the Juddernaut. And he's playing like one. My goodness me. Another terrific performance.